I'm Emily Rooney. Welcome to Beat the Press. Our topics: what makes the murder of a Dorchester man newsworthy? Celebrity appears to be the key. Who made the Marky Gomez race dull? Is the media to blame? And did celebrity chef Paula Deen get a fair shake in the press? And our panel rants and raves of the week. Joining me are Dan Kennedy of Northeastern University, John Keller of WBZ, Marjorie Egan of WGBH and the Boston Herald, and Farrah Stockman of the Boston Globe. First, the arrest of Aaron Hernandez for the murder of Odin Lloyd is certainly newsworthy, but his case has also received an intensity of coverage not seen since the Boston Marathon bombing, raising question about which murders get covered and why. 71 shootings in Boston since the Marathon bombings. That should be major news according to the website Blackstonian. But for the media, the major crime story has been in North Attleboro, where they've camped out watching Aaron Hernandez's every move. Once Hernandez was formally arrested this week, the local newscasts were ready to roll.
It looks like they're bringing somebody out of the home right now.
You're witnessing the arrest of Patriot star Aaron Hernandez.
Police very careful to execute this arrest warrant for Aaron Hernandez as they would with any other citizen.
But clearly Hernandez is not any regular citizen. His story has led the front pages for well over a week now, with days of ongoing live coverage, with live shots from the air, from the police station.
We're watching every move.
And the courthouses where Hernandez has appeared.
Oh, you see part of the media contingent right here.
Meanwhile, a triple murder in Boston got only modest coverage. That led Boston Herald columnist Marjorie Egan to raise the double standard question. And the Boston Globe's Joan Vanacki put it this way.
Now we know what it takes to get the media to cover the death of a black man from Dorchester.
That may be little solace to Odin Lloyd's family. I mean, the very sad fact of the matter is if Odin Lloyd had been killed in Dorchester, far enough away from North Attleboro, and there was no obvious connection, it wouldn't have gotten much attention. It would have been treated like that horrible incident last weekend where where 3 people were killed. I always say this, and I've been consistent for as long as I've been in journalism, though, that the thing that really makes a good murder story newsworthy is an element of mystery. And this one still has it. I mean, we're still unclear about the motives. We don't know why he did this, why the other people were involved, why they went along with it, if indeed they did, what the story is with this murder, the double murder he's now associated with a year ago this time. So there's enough around this. And the fact that he's a celebrity. You can't just dismiss that.
It's sports and celebrity. I mean, you'd like to think in a perfect world every death would be marked the same way. But we live in a violent society, and unfortunately, most murders kind of roll off our backs. But when you have these elements of sports and celebrity and the mystery, as you say, I don't really think you can blame the media for focusing more on this than they would on other cases, although it's really starting to reach the, well, I was going to say the overkill stage, which is an unfortunate word, but it looks like it's going to continue for quite some time.
Well, there's been some breaking elements even
today.
Well,
I mean, yeah, as you say, we still don't know what happened.
But you know what I think it was, too? And we all cover murders in the city. The Globe does it. The Herald does it. Everybody does it. TV stations do it. But I think it was almost a combination of, the 70 shootings since the Boston Marathon, the massive coverage of the marathon, the 50, 60, whatever the one fund is now, $1 million raised so quickly, then Hernandez. And then you've got this new threshold being crossed of just, women that were just happened to be in the car, and in one case there's a 4-year-old in the back seat, and ministers like Bruce Wall or Kim and Ron Odom, who lost their 13-year-old son, are saying, okay, we get it. Hernandez is famous. The marathon was a terrorist deal, but there's a terrorist attack really right here in neighborhoods that are not. You go to the neighborhoods where these crimes are committed, and a lot of them are really nice neighborhoods. People work in 9-to-5 jobs and nice kept up homes. And there's bad actors, and there's parts of Boston that are terrorized by these bad actors. So I get
it's not like that story hasn't been told. How many times can you tell it?
Well, it's been told, but there's no sense of emergency or urgency about it. And politicians, to me, are to blame as much as the media, because shouldn't this be front and center in the mayor's race? I don't think it is.
Well, if this
alleged crime had been committed by a politician, would this be a political story? I mean, right now it's being covered like a sports story, right? It's not being covered like a crime story. And I went back to see in 2012 what did the Globe do on the drive-by shooting in Dorchester that Hernandez is now being investigated for. And we had one story, and it was, you know, the victims' relatives are seeking answers, but there was no arrests, there was no lead. And it was
follow-up.
2 Cape Verdean guys, and the
Good
cops.
guys.
What did right?
Good
and
guys.
the cops were like, "Oh, maybe it's gang related." One of the Cape Verdean victims was a cop in Cape Verde. The other was a tour guide in Cape Verde, and so it was like, how is this a gang related incident? And so I think it's not just the media that's at fault. It's, I mean, the cops also didn't seem to do much follow up on that murder, and so, you know, I bet now they're going to. I bet we're going to hear a lot more about that murder back in 2012.
Yeah, Dan is right. For a murder to rise to a certain level of coverage in the mass media, there has to be a hook of some kind. In this case, it's the fact that not only is he a member of arguably the most widely followed sports franchise in this area, and one of the most widely followed ones in the country, but he's a star player, arguably one of the top 5 players on the team. So that gives a tremendous amount of rocket fuel to this story. However, you know, I do think it is worth pointing out that race and class do play into the extent of coverage that you get. I think I've told this story before. Many years in the past, I've attended the annual ceremony at the State House for missing children, where all the pictures of all the Massachusetts children who have been missing, in many cases for years, are displayed. And you walk down that gallery and you see, oh, Molly Bish, what a terrible, sad story that was. And, oh, yeah, I remember this one. And then there's 30 other pictures of children. And you don't even remember the story. And invariably, they're a black or Latino. And that tells us something disturbing about our social values and our cultural values.
Well, we have the power to change it.